friends, let's have an introduction to methods used to study genes. In the year 1953, Watson and Crick published their double helical model of the DNA, a discovery that ushered in a revolution in biological research and technology. In the decades that followed, the genetic code was cracked and the phenomenon of DNA transcription, translation and replication were elucidated in great detail. DNA was recognized as the molecule of life, the bearer of genetic information and the molecule at the basis of all disease and disorders. The later half of the 20th century came to be known as the era of molecular biology, as DNA lay at the center of focus of all research in biology. As a consequence, a large number of technologies were developed aimed at studying the structure, function and changes in the DNA molecule. Although the tools and techniques to study DNA are many, in this lecture we shall restrict ourselves to the main techniques used to analyze DNA. The earliest means to study genes comprised of an analysis of progeny of controlled mating, that is crosses between mutants and other discontinuous variants. This type of analysis identifies genes, their alleles and their inheritance patterns, but is not frequently in use today. Genes are most often studied through microscopic analysis. Chromosome structure and movement are an integral part of genetics, and new technologies have provided ways of labeling genes and gene products so that their loci can be easily visualized under the microscope. However, most geneticists today analyze the DNA directly, since the genetic material is composed of DNA. Each mutant gene analyzed reveals the alteration in DNA, which in turn points to the altered proteins. There are two approaches to study DNA. One mode, often followed to study genes, involves the biochemical analysis of cellular processes controlled by genes. Mutant alleles, that is of a gene, underlying a defective function are evaluated by analyzing how the cellular chemistry is disturbed in the mutant organism and thus deduce the role of the gene. Thus, one can identify genes that are expressed as mRNA, that is expressed sequence tags or ESTs. The second approach involves analysis of the DNA of the genome, including both coding and non-coding regions, and assign different regions in the sequence with functions, that is sequence annotation. There are several modified and many advanced technologies. However, we shall focus only on basic techniques. These fundamental techniques analyze DNA in order to sequence the molecule are generally followed in discrete steps. One is isolation and fragmentation of DNA, second is separation of DNA by agarose gel electrophoresis, third is sudden blotting, fourth is amplification by PCR and fifth is DNA sequencing. Moving on to isolation of DNA, to study DNA of a plant, animal or microbial cell, one must first break the cell wall or membrane and release the DNA from the nucleus. It is important to isolate DNA which is free from contaminating RNA, proteins, lipids and other cellular constituents. Due to the large size of genomic DNA, the isolation method should be gentle to minimize mechanical shear stress which would fragment the large genomic DNA. A buffer containing detergents, for example SDS, NP40 or Triton X100 is used to lyse cells and assist in the removal of proteins from the DNA. Further, deproteinization is achieved by the use of proteinase K in a lysis buffer. Residual protein and contaminating lipids can then be effectively removed by extraction with phenol and chloroform. The sample may also be treated with DNase-free RNase to remove the contaminating RNA, Following proteinase K digestion, samples are extracted with saturated phenol is to chloroform, that is 1:1, followed by 2 extractions with chloroform. The upper phase is transferred to a clean tube. The DNA is washed once with 70% ethanol and precipitated with 2 volumes of 100% ethanol and 0.1 volume of 3 molar sodium acetate, which has the pH of 5.2, followed by centrifugation for 15 minutes at 12,000 G. The precipitated DNA may be spooled out or stored in a buffer at -20 degrees Celsius. Moving on to the fragmentation of DNA, since DNA is a long, complex biopolymer, it has to be cut into smaller pieces to facilitate analysis. The long polymer isolated from the cell nucleus would be entangled or cross-linked, making analysis difficult. Special enzymes, the restriction endonuclease, are present in most cells to cut up foreign DNA. These enzymes recognize specific base sequences along the DNA and cut the DNA only at same target sequence. For example, the enzyme from E. coli will recognize the sequence and always cut the phosphodiester bridge between GA at the 5' ends. Hence, restriction enzyme will cut a long DNA polymer repeatedly into fragments of same length, since it always cut at the same sites. A DNA sample can thus be identified based on the size of fragments obtained after restriction enzymes have cut the DNA. This maxim forms the basic principle of identifying DNA by restriction fragment length polymorphism, which is RFLP. Moving on to the separation of DNA fragments, once the DNA has been cut into smaller, more manageable fragments, these fragments may vary in size and hence are to be separated by agarose gel electrophoresis in order to study DNA. During gelation, agarose polymers form a network whose pore sizes determine the gel's molecular sieving properties. To separate DNA using agarose gel electrophoresis, the DNA is loaded into precast wells in the gel and a current is applied. The phosphate backbone of the DNA and RNA molecule is negatively charged. Therefore, when placed in an electric field, DNA fragments will migrate to the positively charged anode. Since DNA has a uniform mass to charge ratio, DNA molecules are separated by siles within an agarose gel in a pattern such that the distance travelled is inversely proportional to the log of its molecular weight. As DNA moves through the agarose gel, the leading edge moves forward and pulls the rest of the molecule along. Ethidium bromide is mixed while preparing the gel so that it binds to the separated DNA and upon activation with UV light emits a fluorescence, making the detection of DNA bands easy. After separation, the DNA molecules can be visualized under a UV light after staining with an appropriate dye. The rate of migration of a DNA molecule through gel is determined by the following: size of the DNA molecule, agarose concentration, DNA conformation, voltage applied, presence of ethidium bromide, type of agarose and electrophoresis buffer. Next we have Southern blotting. The DNA is blotted or transferred from the gel onto a nitrocellulose or nylon membrane. This is a special membrane onto which the DNA binds exactly in the same manner as it was separated in the gel. The blot is incubated with many copies of a probe which is single-stranded DNA. This probe will form base pairs with its complementary DNA sequence and bind to form a double-stranded DNA molecule. The probe is labeled either with a radioactive isotope or an enzyme bound to it, for example, alkaline phosphatase or Horsch-Reddish peroxidase or a fluorochrome. The location where the probe has bound is revealed by methods depending upon the label used. If the probe was labeled with radioactivity, it can expose X-ray film directly, or a fluorescent dye is detected by UV exposure. Moving on to polymerase chain reaction, in certain cases, one may want to study only a specific sequence on the DNA, or one may obtain the DNA sample in very minute quantities. To facilitate the analysis of DNA in such cases, the small quantities or rare sample is first amplified or made into large number of copies so that studying the DNA may become easier. The polymerase chain reaction, that is PCR, is an extremely versatile technique for copying DNA. PCR allows a single DNA sequence to be copied for about millions of times or altered in predetermined ways. PCR has many variations like reverse transcription PCR, which is RT-PCR for amplification of RNA, and real-time PCR, which is qPCR, which allows for quantitative measurement of DNA or RNA molecules. Polymerase chain reaction is an in vitro DNA amplification protocol. It selectively amplifies a specific DNA sequence from any source, that is virus, bacteria, plant or human, hundreds of millions of times in a matter of hours. PCR is a technique necessary for several other genetic applications such as sequencing, RFLP analysis and microsatellite analysis. PCR was first described by Kary Mullis in 1980. It is based on using the ability of DNA polymerase to synthesize new strand of DNA complementary to the desired template strand. Because DNA polymerase can add a nucleotide only onto a pre-existing 3' hydroxyl group, it needs a primer to which it can add the first nucleotide. This requirement makes it possible to delineate a specific region of template sequence that the researcher wants to amplify. Hence, primers are small oligonucleotide sequences complementary to the 3' end of the target DNA. In each PCR reaction, in the first step, the DNA is denatured. The two helical strands are separated at 94 to 95 degrees Celsius, exposing the sequences to be copied. This is followed by primer annealing at ambient temperatures of 45 to 65 degrees Celsius to enable the DNA polymerase enzyme to start copying in the extension step at 72 degrees Celsius. This process is continued repetitively for several cycles, where each daughter strand of cycle is the parent strand in the next. At the end of PCR reaction, the specific sequence will be accumulated in billions of copies that are amplicons, is based on using the ability of DNA polymerase to synthesize new strand of DNA complementary to the offered template strand. Thus, PCR is an in vitro DNA replication process, and therefore, all basic requirements for replication are to be incubated with the target DNA in a small vial and form the reaction components. The reaction components include template DNA, DNA polymerase, primers, buffer and precursor dNTP molecules. In PCR, amplification is exponential because for each cycle, the DNA made in the previous cycles can also serve as a template. There are also many modifications of PCR, and according to the requirement, any can be used. Moving on to DNA sequencing. DNA sequencing, first devised in 1975, has become a powerful technique in molecular biology which allows one to determine the exact sequence of nucleotides or bases on the DNA that make up the genetic code. In the analysis of eukaryotic genes, sequencing has enabled scientists to identify sequences and determine the importance and functions of various sequences in both regulatory and structural region of a gene. Furthermore, a molecular biologist can utilize sequencing to identify the site of a point mutation. DNA sequencing has revolutionized molecular biology and study of the DNA molecule. There are several methods to sequence a gene, but in this discussion we shall explain only the most frequently used method. The Sanger-Coulson method or dideoxynucleotide chain termination method for sequencing has been named so since Sanger devised the method. The first step is to convert double-stranded DNA into single-stranded DNA. This is done by denaturing the double-stranded DNA with NaOH. DNA primers that are short pieces of DNA that are both complementary to the strand which is to be sequenced and radioactively labeled at the 5' end are added. This technique utilizes 2-3- dideoxynucleotide triphosphates DDNTPs molecules that differ from deoxynucleotides by having a hydrogen atom attached to the 3' carbon rather than an OH group. These molecules terminate DNA chain elongation because they cannot form a phosphodiester bond with the next deoxynucleotide. Since there is no free OH group to take part in bond formation, this reaction is performed 4 times using different DD-NTP for each reaction. When these reactions are completed, a polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, that is PAGE, is carried out. One reaction is loaded into one lane for total of 4 lanes. The gel is transferred to a nitrocellulose filter and autoradiography is performed so that only the bands with the radioactive label on the 5' end will appear. The band that migrates fastest indicates that its particular dideoxynucleotide was added first to the labeled primer and its complementary base thymine must have been the base present on the 3' end of the sequenced strand. If one reads the bases from bottom up, one is reading the 5' to 3' sequence of the strand complementary to the sequence strand. The sequence strand can be read 5' to 3' by reading top to bottom the bases complementary to those on the gel. Moving on to DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting, a technique developed by Sir Alec Jeffreys, is used to identify small differences in repetitive sequences of DNA. This makes it possible to distinguish between 2 samples of DNA and identify whether the DNA from a sample belongs to the individual in question. DNA fingerprinting is based on identifying polymorphism in certain sequences of DNA which uniquely differ from person to person. Moving on to RFLP analysis, RFLPs involve fragmenting a sample of DNA by a restriction enzyme which can recognize and cut DNA wherever a specific short sequences occur. An RFLP occurs when the length of a detected fragment varies between individuals and can be used in genetic analysis. Moving on to DNA footprinting. DNA footprinting is a technique designed to identify proteins bound to DNA. Several regulatory proteins bind to sequences on the DNA to trigger transcription. It also helps to identify sequences of DNA to which the particular protein has bound. Then we have DNA microarray technology. DNA microarray enables the researchers to analyze the expression of many genes in a single reaction quickly and in an efficient manner. Thousands of spotted samples known as probes with known sequence are immobilized on a microplate or silicon chips or nylon membrane. The spots can be DNA, cDNA or oligonucleotides. These are used to determine complementary binding of the unknown sequences, thus allowing parallel analysis for gene expression and gene discovery. An experiment with a single DNA chip can provide information on thousands of genes simultaneously. Scientists use DNA microarrays to measure the expression level of large number of genes simultaneously or to genotype multiple regions of a genome. When a gene is expressed in a cell, it generates messenger RNA, that is mRNA. Overexpressed genes generate more mRNA than underexpressed genes. This can be detected on the microarray since an array can contain tens of thousands of probes. Next we have genome-wide association studies, that is GWAS. GWAS use microarray technology to identify associations between specific outcomes, that is height, diabetes, etc., and the genetic aberration identified. Single cell sequencing examines the sequence information from individual cells with optimized newer next generation sequences, that is NGS technologies, providing a higher resolution of intrinsic cellular differences and a clear understanding of the function of an individual cell in relation to its microenvironment. The human cell consists of about 6 billion base pairs of DNA and 600 million bases of mRNA. Since the genomic content is large and the quanta for sequencing are vast, it would be expensive and time consuming to sequence by traditional Sanger sequencing. Gene mapping involves identifying the gene locus and the gene responsible for the altered phenotype. If a mutation is induced and inserted, locating the disrupted gene is fairly simple. DNA fragments containing the insertion are collected and amplified, and the nucleotide sequence of the flanking DNA is determined. Linkage analysis often rely on physical markers along the genome for estimating the location of an unknown gene. These markers are generally nucleotide fragments with a known sequence and genome location that can exist in at least two allelic forms, for example, single nucleotide polymorphism, that is SNPs. Next we have cytogenetics. Cytogenetics is the study of structure and function of the chromosomes within the cell nucleus. This is done by preparing a karyotype and analyzing the chromosomes. A karyotype is a photographic image giving the number and appearance of chromosomes in the nucleus of an eukaryotic cell. The term is also used for the complete set of chromosomes in a species or an individual organism. In a karyotype, chromosomes are arranged according to their length, the position of the centromeres, banding pattern. Karyotyping uses a system of studying chromosome aberrations to identify genetic abnormalities and evolutionary changes in the past. Next we have fluorescence in situ hybridization. FISH is a cytogenetic technique that uses fluorescent probes to bind to specific sequences of the chromosome with a high degree of sequence complementarily. It was developed by biomedical researchers in the early 1980s and is used to detect and localize the presence, absence or the change in specific DNA sequences on chromosomes. Fluorescence microscopy is then used to find out where the fluorescent probe is bound to the chromosomes. The sequence detection is done in situ on the chromosomal locus without isolation or separation of DNA. FISH is often used for finding specific features in DNA for use in genetic counseling, medicine and species identification. FISH can also be used to detect and localize specific RNA targets in cells, circulating tumor cells and tissue samples. In this context, it can help define the spatial temporal patterns of gene expression within cells and tissues. Next we have the Human Genome Project. There are now several advanced and fully automated high throughput technology to study DNA which are time, energy and labor saving and perform a vast quanta of DNA analysis extremely fast. The embodiment of these advances in technology were witnessed by the Human Genome Project, which was launched in 1990 through funding from the US National Institutes of Health and Department of Energy, with the goal of sequencing 95% of the DNA in human cell. The sequencing was performed in 20 universities and research centers in the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, France, Germany and China. The aims of this mega project were mainly to sequence the 3.3 billion base pairs of the human genome as accurately as possible, with a target of 95% coverage of the human genome by 2005, to identify the genetic variants that increases the risk for common diseases like cancer and diabetes, to establish a database accessible worldwide to access the sequence information for the human genome, as well as for organisms such as E. coli, C. elegans, A. thaliana, D. melanogaster, etc. And finally, to address the medical, legal, social and ethical issues related to human genome investigations. The first challenge was to create a map of the human genome by 2005, but the project was completed earlier in 2003 and established the ability for the first time to read nature's complete genetic blueprint for building a human being. Such was the rapid enhancement of the technology to study DNA. Although the main sequencing phase of HGP has been completed, studies of DNA variation continued in the International HapMap project, whose goal was to identify patterns of single nucleotide polymorphism, that is SNP groups, called haplotypes or HAPs, from DNA samples of a total of 270 individuals.
Hereby, we summarize the talk. A large number of technologies have been developed to study the structure, function and changes in the DNA molecule. The basic techniques to analyze DNA are generally followed in discrete steps: isolation and fragmentation of DNA, separation of DNA by agarose gel electrophoresis, Southern blotting, amplification by PCR and DNA sequencing. To study DNA, first the cell wall or membrane is lysed to release the DNA from the nucleus. Contaminating RNA, protein, lipids and other cellular constituents are removed from the DNA using a lysis buffer and phenol chloroform extraction. Since DNA is a long biopolymer, it is cut into smaller pieces using restriction endonucleases, which recognize specific base sequences and cut the DNA only at the same target sequence. This yields fragments of varying length depending upon the restriction sites. Once the DNA has been cut into more manageable fragments, these fragments are separated using agarose gel electrophoresis, giving a ladder of bands based on fragment size. The DNA on the gel is blotted or transferred from the gel onto a nitrocellulose or nylon membrane. The polymerase chain reaction, abbreviated as PCR, is used for copying or amplifying DNA to facilitate the analysis of DNA present in minute quantities or rare sequences. The exact sequence of nucleotides or bases on the DNA can be determined by the di-deoxynucleotide chain termination method, that is Sanger's method for sequencing. This is one of the many available methods for sequencing DNA. Other methods used to study DNA include DNA fingerprinting, RFLP analysis, DNA footprinting, DNA microarray technology, gene mapping, single cell sequencing, cytogenetic analysis and fluorescence in situ hybridization, abbreviated as FISH. There are now several advanced and fully automated high throughput technology to study DNA which are time, energy and labor saving and perform a vast quanta of DNA analysis extremely fast.